guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at books that are on my radar. These are some books that I've recently added to my TBR, not my physical TBR, but these are some books that I would like to purchase or get my hands on sometime soon. Let's get into it. We are going to be looking at the 5 most recent books that I have added to my want to read list on Goodreads. The first is Hole in the Sky by Daniel H. Wilson. This book has an average rating of a 3.47, so good, not great. But only 2,000 people have left their ratings and 391 people have written reviews for this book. By the cover, I think this looks pretty sci-fi, speculative fiction. Let's see what it's about. It is a gripping sci-fi thriller and Native American first contact story from the New York Times bestselling author of the Robo-Apocalypse. Daniel Wilson, who is a Cherokee Nation citizen and works as a threat forecaster for NASA. Helipause is a real place, the very outer edge of our solar system, where the sun's solar winds are no longer strong enough to keep debris and intrusions from bombarding our system. It is the farthest edge of our protected boundary. It was recently crossed by Voyager, and the line beyond which space experts look for extraterrestrial presences. This is where Daniel Wilson's fascinating novel begins, weaving together the story of Jim, a down-on-his-luck absentee father in the Osage Territory of Oklahoma, and his daughter Tawny, with those of a NASA engineer, a misfit anonymous genius who lives in a military isolation analyzing a secret incoming pattern, and a CIA investigator tasked with tracking unexplained encounters. Helipause explores a Native American first contact that pulls all 5 characters into something never before seen or imagined. So I did find out about this book on Goodreads. I didn't know all the author's backstory of how he actually works for NASA. I think that's super cool to see somebody who's actually in that field writing a science fiction novel. But what really drew me in is this is a first contact story, but at the Native American indigenous perspective, which I've never seen done before, and I'm always looking for new and unique ideas. Aliens, I love them. The tags for this book are science fiction, fiction, horror, indigenous, aliens, audiobook, might be a good audiobook, thriller, fantasy, adult, and Native American. I love that horror is one of the tags because some of the best science fiction that I've read has given me nightmares. So if a book can do that, I'm here for it. The next book we're going to talk about is Blood Slaves. This particular copy is the deluxe stenciled edges edition. I don't care if mine has that or not, but this is by Marcus Redmond. It is the first book in the Blood Saga. So I don't know if this book hasn't come out altogether or if just this version hasn't come out yet, but it says July 28th, 2026 for the expected drop date, which is my birthday week, so that's super fun. But it has a great rating of a 3.87. 4,000 people have left those ratings, where 934 people have left reviews. Isn't that like similar to the other one? Interesting. What if a mystifying revolt precluded the Civil War and changed history as we know it? The vampire origin story is brilliantly reimagined in its terrifying novel of ancient lore, startling revenge, and immortal emancipation in 18th century America. Prince of Carolina, 1710, freedom seems unattainable for Willie, for his beloved Gertie, and for their unborn child. They live, suffer, and toil under their brutal master, James Big Jim Barrow, whose grand plantation was built by the blood, sweat, and tears of the enslaved. To flee this hell on earth is to be hunted and killed. Until one night, Willie is offered a dark coat by Rafisi, an enigmatic slave with an irresistible and blood-chilling path to liberation. Hailing from the kingdom of Ghana, Rafisi is the lone survivor of the Ramanga, an African vampire tribe rendered nearly extinct by plague. Rafisi has roamed the world for centuries with an undying desire to replenish the power that once defined his heritage. In Willie, Rafisi has found his first biddable subject to be turned and to help in a hungry revolt. And Willie desires nothing more than to free his people from malicious bondage, whatever it takes. One by one, as an army of blood slaves thirsting for revenge is gathered, the headstrong Gertie fears that no good can come from the vampiric legacy that courses through veins. Willie knows that only evil can fight evil, and when the woman he loves stands between the reemergence of the Ramanga and the justified slaughter of the oppressors, Willie must make an irreversible decision. Only one thing is certain: on the Barrow Plantation and beyond, blood will spill, part historical drama, part supernatural horror, and part alternate history. Blood Slaves is an ingenious and defiant new creation myth of the vampire, one rooted in both justice and sometimes violent means necessary to achieve it. I do think that told a lot. That's like when you watch a movie trailer and you feel like you watched the whole movie. That's how I feel after reading that description. But what drew me to this book is the historical vampire stuff. It reminds me of Sinners, and obviously I want to read books that are like the movie Sinners. And it does take place in Carolina, which is where I live, so that will probably make it all the much more immersive reading experience. But this seems like unlike anything that I've read before. I don't know how I discovered this book. It was probably on Goodreads. These genres are horror, historical fiction, fantasy, vampires, fiction, paranormal, historical, thriller, audiobook, and horror thriller. I do get scared with alt history, so hopefully this is alt history done well. Our next one is Wild Seed. This is the first book in the Patternist series by Octavia E. Butler. Again, I don't know if this book really hasn't published yet or if it's just this version, because this one says it's expected on June 23rd, 2026. I don't know. But it has a great rating of a 4.20 with 40,000 people leaving ratings and 3,942 leaving reviews. Burrow knows no higher authority than himself. An ancient spirit with boundless powers, he possesses humans, killing without remorse as he jumps from body to body to sustain his own life. With a lonely eternity ahead of him, Doro breeds supernaturally gifted humans into empires that obey his every desire. He fears no one until he meets Anyan Wu. Anyan Wu is an entity like Doro and yet different. She can heal with a bite and transform her own body, mending injuries and reversing age. She uses her powers to cure her neighbors and birth entire tribes, surrounding herself with kindred who fear and respect her. No one poses a threat to Anyan Wu until she meets Doro. The moment Doro meets Anyan Wu, he covets her, and from villages of 17th century Nigeria to 19th century United States, their courtship becomes a power struggle that echoes through generations, evocably changing what it means to be human. And then, okay, it says this is a gorgeous new edition, so it does have a different cover and flaps and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really care about what a book looks like. So this one does kind of remind me of the last book we talked about, because it does have those historical aspects, but I do love stories that involve like ancient spirits and how ancient times have an impact on modern times. Sounds like we might get some of that. But this main genre is fantasy, then science fiction, fiction, historical fiction, very genre bending. Audiobook, science fiction, fantasy, speculative fiction, book club, African American, and adult. The next one is very different from the books that I typically talk about, but when I was at Barnes & Noble last week, I saw this book on the shelf, thought it looked kind of interesting, but I did want to do some research before purchasing it, so I haven't bought it yet, and that is The Last Daughter of Sparta by Felicia Day with Rowan McCowell as the illustrator. It has a great rating of a 4.17 with 1,000 people leaving their ratings, but only 239 have written reviews for this book, this graphic novel. Helena Troy, Clytemnestra, Timandra, three sisters, I can't talk today, I'm sorry, cursed by the goddess Aphrodite to portray their husbands, are known the world over. Few know about their fourth sister, Phileno. Lost to historical record, all we know from ancient texts is that she avoided the curse placed on her family and was granted immortality by the goddess Artemis. But why and how did this happen? Now Felicia Day is determined to bring Phileno to vivid life and fill in the missing pieces with this graphic novel retelling. Her story is a traditional hero's journey with a feminist twist. Born as both a Spartan princess and with a wine-stained birthmark on her face, Phileno is destined for a different fate than her sisters. Her remarkable but overlooked life is finally revealed in this clever and engaging graphic novel that's perfect for fans of the Palace of Eros and Lore Olympus. I love the ancient world. So that's simply the reason why I was interested in this book. These genre tags are graphic novels, fantasy, mythology, historical fiction, fiction, comics, Greek mythology, LGBT, queer, and graphic novel comics. We made it to the last book in this video, and that is Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I'm not sure if that's how you say that. Probably not. It has a great rating of a 4.35 with over 264,000 people leaving their ratings, and 30,000 have given reviews. Like, that is... I can't even imagine that many people. Can you? This one, I think they recently did a giveaway for, and that's why it's upped itself on the list again, because I don't know if you can see that little sticker there that says this was a Goodreads Choice Award winner in 2016. So this book has been out for over 10 years at this point. I do think it's young adult historical fiction, but let's see the description. While the Titanic and, I've never known how to say this, Lusitania are both well-documented disasters, the single greatest tragedy in maritime history is the little-known January 30th, 1945, sinking in the Baltic Sea by a Soviet submarine of the Wilhelm Gustloff, a German cruise liner that was supposed to ferry wartime personnel and refugees to safety from the advancing Red Army. The ship was overcrowded with more than 10,500 passengers. The intended capacity was approximately 1,800. And more than 9,000 people, including 5,000 children, lost their lives. So the writer crafts 4 fictionalized but historically accurate voices to convey real-life tragedy. Joanna, a Lithuanian with nursing experience, Florian, a Prussian soldier fleeing the Nazis with stolen treasure, and Amelia, a Polish girl close to the end of her pregnancy, converge on their escape journeys as Russian troops advance. Each will eventually meet Albert, a Nazi peon with delusions of grandeur assigned to the Gustloff decks. But I do think historical fiction for a YA audience is fantastic because it can spark a love of history and spark that interest to go do some real research and like nonfiction and just encourage that learning voyage that I'm always preaching about on my channel. The genres for this one are historical fiction, young adult, fiction, historical, World War II, war, audiobook, book club, so for my book club, maybe, and maybe a mood read for me, but romance and teen. So those are all the books that have come onto my radar lately that I do want to pick up. We still have historical fiction being that genre. That is my bread and butter, but we have some twists there, which is kind of interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a fruit emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye. If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.